Welcome to Bearcat Update. I'm Jenny James, and we are back from spring break. We all wish we were still on the beach, but the show must go on. While all of us were in Texas and Florida, Northwest athletes were competing. The baseball and softball teams were on the road, and the Northwest track and field team hosted a meet. Our reporter Maria Babcock caught up with a few baseball and softball players to find out how they spend their spring break.
Being a student athlete is a lot harder than it looks. Schoolwork, practice, and games require a lot of balance for the Northwest Missouri State baseball and softball teams. The teams still managed to hold great conference records. Baseball catcher and designated hitter Jay Herdlicott and softball pitcher Rachel Smith talk about their team's season so far.
We've been doing really well. We got off to a 7-2 start in the conference season, so we're really happy with that and just got to keep it rolling.
We are 9-7 overall, 3-1 in conference. We've been hitting really well, and defense is getting there. It's kind of a tough transition going from turf to dirt, so we're getting there. The last couple of weekends have definitely been better than the first ones.
With several long road trips, the teams often miss many classes during their season, but they make it a priority to stay on top of their schoolwork.
It is kind of tough, especially for the upper level, time-consuming classes, but a lot of girls, will study on the bus. I mean, you kind of have to since, games last for 4 hours a day, so. And then since a lot of the girls have the same major, we can study together while we're traveling.
It's tough. We do our best. A lot of the time when we're at hotels, the hotel lobby will kind of look like the library. It's a bunch of guys studying in it, and we study as much as we can. And our teachers are great too. We stay on top of it with them and communicate well, and it usually works out pretty well.
Spring break is a popular time for college students to vacation, but both the softball and baseball teams will have several games during the week.
Since we don't have a midweek game this year, we will have Monday and Tuesday off after playing this Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So 3 days of games, 2 days off, and then we'll practice Wednesday, Thursday, and then we play Friday again. So
we are traveling all spring break, so we go to Lindenwood this upcoming weekend to start spring break, and then we play a midweek game at UNK, Kearney, and then we get back, have a couple days here in Maryville, and then we go to Topeka to play Washburn. So a lot of traveling.
Whenever we aren't doing anything, pretty much the whole team's hanging out. We always get at least one meal together when we're here, so that's kind of cool. It's definitely a time for team building and team chemistry.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we see all of our friends that don't play sports down in South Padre or wherever they're at having a good time, but we're so close. We love being with each other, and playing baseball obviously is our first love, so we wouldn't have it any other way.
Their love for the game comes first. The commitment to the team will push them through the season as they both aim for conference championships. Reporting for Bearcat Update, I'm Maria Babcock.
Thanks, Maria. Last week, the softball team hosted 2 doubleheaders. Thursday, the Cats swept Central Oklahoma, picking up the first game 3-2 and winning the second game 7-4. Friday, the Northeastern State Riverhawks came into town. The ladies dropped the first game 7-8, but routed the Riverhawks in the second 10-1. The Northwest softball team isn't the only bat and ball team in Maryville. The Maryville High School Baseball team is preparing to kick off their season, and our reporter Nolan Brooks had an opportunity to sit down with the team. Nolan?
Baseball season is here for the Spoof Hounds, and after winning a Class 4 district title last season, they're gearing up for a new year. So I caught up with Coach Rydell, Jacob Woods, and Zach Patton to find out how they're preparing for the new season.
Personally, in the preseason, I take some hitting lessons. I go up and I just try and get back in the swing of things during basketball season. Just did my body conditioned for this season, which is definitely different than the last. And just try and get as well prepared as I can, so when I come back, I'm playing my best for my team.
With Woods being an experienced senior, he knows what has to improve this year for Spoof Hound baseball to win more games.
Well, hopefully nothing. Hopefully we can come out and compete like we did last year and go win another district championship. But it's a different team, so we got to play to our different strengths. Pitching-wise, I feel like we're a little bit kind of on the lesser end than what we were last year, so we'll have to have some younger guys step up. But, I mean, all it comes down to is scoring more runs than the other team, and so that's our plan.
In the short preseason, Coach Rydell continues to get more excited as the season slowly begins and improvements are made on the field for the Spoof Hounds.
It's great to see these guys grow every day. We've seen incredible improvement over the last 2 weeks just with a couple of the guys. And then our older veteran guys who've been doing this a while, they're just getting stronger and stronger. So it's just been awesome. We're ready to roll.
As the new season begins and the new players become comfortable and the ball still hits off the bat, the Spoof Hounds look forward to their 2018 season. For Bearcat Update, I'm Nolan Brooks.
Thanks, Nolan. The Hounds opened their season with a 5-3 victory over Savannah on Tuesday, but fell to Lee Summit on Thursday, 3-15. We are going to take a quick break, but stick around. We have more baseball to come. Welcome back to Bearcat Update. I'm Jenny James. Sticking with the baseball theme from before the break, this week on Coach's Corner, we have brought in not one, but two special guests. This week we have Nate Russell and Jarrett Cronin from the baseball team. Guys, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So both of you are transfers. Nathan, you're from Lincoln, and Jarrett, you're a townie.
Yep.
So what kind of made both of you decide to come here?
For me personally, it was just a great opportunity, the best opportunity I had. Love the coaches, love the facilities. It was a good time.
I'd known a couple guys on the team already, and that was kind of a big part of it for me. I didn't want to go to a new place where I didn't know anyone, and I also didn't want to go far from home. So all my other offers were pretty far away, so I figured I might as well just come back home.
So with college baseball, I've seen that it's very common for players to go the community college route first before going to like a four-year university. So would you guys say that is better for you guys, or is that putting a strain kind of on the relationship of a four-year like university baseball program?
I think it's tough to leave you don't have all the relationships for 4 years like the guys here have. So you get those relationships for 2 years and you're really close with everybody, but then you leave, which really sucks because you're really close with those guys. But I think the perk of going to a 4-year, all 4 years, is just the relationships you build and having those friends for 4 years instead of just the 2.
Yeah, I mean, I've made numerous friends both here and at my old community college, and honestly, both of them are just as strong relationships. I still talk to them back at the community college.
So going off of that, how has that been transferring into a new program for you guys?
The transition honestly wasn't too bad. We got here, I made some new friends right away, and baseball guys are real nice, so they brought me in, welcomed me, and had a lot of fun.
All the guys are really cool. They welcomed us with open arms. It's been a lot of fun.
So looking back at the season now, how do you think it's going so far? You guys kind of started off a little cold at the beginning, but now you're really hot. So how do you think it's going so far?
I think we're playing really well. We've got some big series coming up, so it'll be a good test. But lately we've been playing really well. Just pitching, hitting, defense has all been there for us.
We've had different guys step up in different situations. Been coming up huge for us.
You have a home game Wednesday against MIAA rival Missouri Western. What are you guys seeing from Western, and what do you need to do to beat them?
Just what we've been doing all year. Good pitching, good defense, hitting, timely hitting when we need to, executing plays, executing our pitches, and I'm sure Coach Slow will call a good game.
Yeah, he said it best.
So what would you say are some team goals that you guys have for this year, the season, maybe that you didn't accomplish from last year? Well, I mean, you guys transferred in, but what would you say are some team goals?
I think we can win conference this year. We have a lot of talent on the team, both pitching and our position players. There's a lot of talent, so I think there's no reason why we can't win conference this year. Like I said earlier, we have some big series coming up, so that'll be a good test, and then hopefully we can pull it off.
Like you said, obviously winning conference is the #1 goal, and then regionals, and on and on.
See what we can do.
What are some personal goals that you guys have for yourselves?
Personal goals, I want to remain the starter for the rest of the year. Keep throwing a lot of strikes, keep helping the team out the best I can.
Yeah, just when I get my opportunity to throw, I got to do my best and help the team win.
Kind of going back to the community college talk, how different has that been, like playing on a team like that and then playing at Northwest?
I'm not sure. I think they're pretty comparable, just like with the skill level. we played at 2 pretty good JUCOs, so like the skill level's there, but I think just the experience that the guys have on the team right now, like we have a bunch of seniors and you can just tell that they've been on the field for 4, maybe 5 years if they had that redshirt year. I think that really is the difference. Just they've been on the field a lot more and put in a lot more work.
Yeah, it's the same game both at the community college and here, so I mean, somewhat the same.
Do you find it tough kind of coming into a new team, trying to work your way into that starting lineup with the guys that have already been here for, quite a while?
At first, when I first got here, I thought it was going to be that way, but as I found out, our coach doesn't care about like if you're a freshman or a senior, if you're going to help us win games, he's going to put you in that role that you need to be in.
It's kind of intimidating at first too, because you've got guys that have been here a while and you're not really sure how you're going to fit in, but it all works out in the end.
Being juniors now, are you kind of feeling that pressure of being more of a leader on this team where you have younger guys, where it's not as like community college where you just have, freshmen and sophomore? Now you're kind of upperclassmen and you have these younger guys looking up to you type of thing.
I think you just got to go out there and just lead by example, kind of. It's cliche, but you just got to do what you do best, and then hopefully you do good enough where the younger guys kind of want to follow that example, and hopefully they want to do what we do, kind of, I guess.
Exactly what he said, yeah.
So kind of talk about your guys' spring break. You didn't really get a break. You
we
were
traveled
very
a lot,
busy.
like everybody else.
We did travel. Yeah, we started in St. Charles at Lindenwood and came back Monday, and Tuesday we're back on the road to Kearney. And came back Wednesday night and headed to Topeka against Washburn. So
we were home for 2 days for spring break.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what we signed up for. So
Yeah.
I mean,
So then would you say it's worth it?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Is it tough sometimes to kind of balance? You were talking earlier, you had to make up a lab from like 3 weeks
Yeah.
ago. So is it kind of hard balancing your academic life with baseball?
School sometimes, yeah, but you just work with your teachers, talk to them, and hopefully they understand and they'll get you where you need to be.
Yeah, we miss a lot of class. Like our Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, where we might get to go the Wednesday, but usually not on Mondays and Fridays because our series has been getting moved around so much. So we haven't really gone to school too much lately. So
Yeah.
it's not bad though.
Right. So we were watching the game earlier, the tournament. Who you guys picking to win it all?
Loyola Chicago.
Yeah.
Sleeper.
I had North Carolina, and they got knocked out pretty early.
Right.
So, yeah.
Definitely a bracket buster this
Yeah.
year.
That's been a
Yeah.
tough one.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. It's been great having you on.
Thank
Wish
you.
you the best of luck the rest of the
Thank
season.
you.
Thank you.
We are going to take a quick break, but stick around. We've got more to come on KNWT Channel 8. Welcome back to Bearcat Update. I'm Jenny James. This week, the track and field team hosted a multi-events meet at Bearcat Stadium. This week, our reporter, Juwan Bush, sat down with a member of the track and field team that takes an unusual path to compete. Juwan? Another Northwest sport that kicked off its season this week was the women's golf team. They competed in the UNK Invitational and placed 4th out of 9 teams. The Cats were led by Nikki McCurdy, who shot a 74 on day 2 of the Invitational. This week, a big hire was announced. Northwest hired Austin Meyer as the new women's basketball coach. Meyer is the 3rd head coach in the last 4 years. Meyer was a 4-year player on the Northwest men's team, scoring over 1,200 career points. Meyer has been a full-time coach for the men's basketball team for the last 10 years. A manager for the women's team had an interesting journey to Northwest. She was an athlete that lost her ability to compete from a rare heart disease. Our reporter, Becca Ross, sat down with her to discuss her journey to Northwest.
Cameron Somers was once a UNO Maverick who first started her college career as a swimmer.
I watched the Olympics, I think it was in 2008, and all of a sudden I was like, Mom, Dad, I want to swim. So they signed me up for like a stroke clinic thing, and then it just kind of came natural to me. So really, it was just a spur of the moment thing.
Unfortunately, Cameron was not able to continue down that path as she had an unforeseen accident.
We were at practice, and I was in the middle of a workout, and I passed out in the water. A teammate caught me, so that was good. But they kind of I was taken to the hospital, and they pretty much told me that it was probably just dehydration and from being in the altitude in Colorado. And so they're like, hey, you can just go back to swimming tomorrow, go back to practice tomorrow. So I did, and it happened again. And then I was taken out of the rest of the meets and practice until I was back in Omaha, and I could see a doctor there. And then I was referred to a cardiologist immediately. I wore a 30-day heart monitor, then was referred to an electrocardiologist. And after millions of tests later, they basically just found out that when my heart rate gets up so high, my blood pressure slams on the brakes instead of balancing out like a normal person.
With the creation of her blog, Be a Better You, Cameron features her own and other student stories and hopes to inspire those who may be facing similar challenges.
Really, my blog is supposed to be based on other people's stories, and so I was like, why not share what others maybe don't have the ability to share or don't necessarily want to share themselves.
Cameron shows us that no matter what happens in life, it all happens for a reason.
You really just choose to. You choose to look for the positive. You choose to find that happiness in other places in your life.
We can all learn from Cameron what it means to believe in yourself and always keep getting back up even when life knocks you down. For Bearcat Update, I'm Becca Ross.
Thanks, Becca. We are going to take a quick break, but stick around. We have more to come here on Bearcat Update. Welcome back to Bearcat Update. I'm Jenny James. Earlier in the show, we talked to two baseball players that took an unusual path to Northwest. Another Northwest baseball player came here in an even more unconventional way, all the way from Venezuela. During spring break, the baseball team played in 6 games. First, they traveled to St. Charles, Missouri to take on Lindenwood. They split with the Lions, picking up the first game 10-1 and dropping the second 7-2. Wednesday, the team traveled to Kearney, Nebraska and fell in a big loss 17-1. This weekend, the team rebounded in Topeka, Kansas against Washburn University, sweeping the Ichabods. In Game 1, the Cats won 9-5, in the second 6-3. In the final game, the Cats won 8-3. That's all the time we have, but first it's time for my top 3. Tuesday, the Bearcat softball team will host Missouri Western in a doubleheader. The Bearcat baseball team will also host Missouri Western on Wednesday. And also on Wednesday, the men and women's tennis team will host Nebraska Kearney. Thanks for tuning into this week's episode of Bearcat Update. You can follow us on Twitter at BearcatUpdate_8 or watch all of our previous episodes on YouTube at KNWT8. Thanks for watching and have a great night. Episode of Bearcat Update. You can find our last episode over here and all of our previous episodes over here. Tune in.